Hello everybody, how are you? Welcome to the 40th episode of the 3 a.m. Knitter podcast. My name is Anne and I am the 3 a.m. Knitter. If this is your first time here, a warm welcome to you. Thanks for checking the podcast out. And if you are a returning viewer, as always, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate you so much. All right, let's get the housekeeping and announcements out of the way so we can dive right in. So you can find me on Ravelry, on Instagram, on Facebook as the 3 a.m. Knitter. My email address, 3amknitter@gmail.com, is down below if you need that. Also, my snail mail address is down there if you should need that now or in the future. What else can I tell you? Website, the3amknitter.weebly.com. We'll be talking about that in just a sec. And of course, you can find me, I think I already said you could find me on Ravelry, didn't I? Anyway, you'll find me on Ravelry as the 3 a.m. Knitter, that's my personal profile, but there's also a Ravelry group for the podcast, so you can find me there just by searching the 3 a.m. Knitter. Okay, that's it. That's all of the housekeeping. All right, announcements. The Nordic mix sweater cal is still running. We're still working away at it. I am not showing you an update of my sweater this episode. I'm going to save that for the next episode, but you can follow along in the thread. So in the 3 a.m. Knitter group on Ravelry, there is a thread for the cal. You can follow along there. There's been some successes and there's been some wah-wahs, so go ahead and check that out. And there's also a couple hashtags that you can take a look at on Instagram if Instagram is your thing. So more of an update on that in a couple of weeks. Also, I'm sure you have seen, if you follow me on social media, that the membership, my membership, The Circle, has opened for new members again. So this is the last time the membership will be open in 2024. I'm going to be closing down new members probably the end of next week. I haven't quite firmed that up yet, but it looks like it'll be the end of next week, but I might extend it for a little while longer. I haven't quite decided. So if you would like to join the membership, there are two options. You can join month to month, or you can join annually. If you opt for the annual membership, you get a month for free, basically. That's kind of the bonus of paying for the year in advance. So I just wanted to share, I've had a lot of questions about, aside from kind of the logistics of the membership, what is the membership about? So I wanted to share something with you. I'm going to read it. That kind of gives you an overall or overarching theme, if you will, about what the membership is about. Because it's not just about getting together for a knit night. That's not the intention of this membership. So this is a monthly membership experience for lovers of knitting or crafting and seekers of community. That's the important part, seekers of community. This is not just a place to stitch and purl. It's an invitation to become part of a community that transcends the boundaries of yarn and needles. When we gather in circle, it's not just about the craft. It's about creating connections, sharing stories, and embracing the magic of togetherness. A tapestry of friendship in the circle. In the circle, every stitch we make weaves a tapestry of friendship. Whether you're a seasoned pro, and there are a number of seasoned pros in our membership, or just picking up your first pair of needles, here everyone is welcome. The circle is diverse, vibrant, and ready to embrace the unique thread that you bring to the community. And there's nothing truer than that. While we may come from different corners of the world, and this is very true, we have members from Canada, from the US, from Australia, from New Zealand, all over the place. The circle is a place where global connections are forged through the shared love of knitting and crafting. Yet it also provides the warmth and familiarity of a local knitting circle where everyone knows your name and celebrates your triumphs, both big and small. This is very true. The circle is a space where creativity knows no bounds. From the rhythmic click of the needles to the explosion of colors of your yarn choices, here we encourage each other to explore, experiment, and push the boundaries of our craft. Your unique perspective is not just valued, it's celebrated. Life has its ups and downs, and in the circle, we're here to support each other through it all. Whether you're navigating a challenging pattern, celebrating a finished project, or just need a virtual hug, our circle is a sanctuary where the support of fellow knitters and crafters wraps you like a cozy shawl. While our common ground may be knitting and crafting, the bonds we create in the circle extend beyond the craft. It's a space to share laughter, anecdotes, and the little joys that life brings. In our circle, we understand that knitting is not just a hobby, it's a thread that connects us all. So that's kind of what this membership is all about. Do we knit? Do we crochet? Do we stitch? Do we sew? Yes, we do all those things. We share projects. We brag about our accomplished finished objects. We talk about the stash we just bought. We talk about life. We do all of those things. So if this sounds like something you would like to be part of, and believe me, we would love to have you be part of it with us, please come and join us. So there'll be links down below in the description box if this is calling to you. Again, 2 options for membership, the month-to-month or the annual choice. Get the month for free with the annual choice. We have members-only patterns that are released, patterns that will never be released out to the public. We have the weekly knit nights. We have members-only knit-alongs. There is a members-only portal that gives you access to all of these things in one place, so you don't have to go searching around for everything. And as time goes on, everything grows. So come and join us. We'd love to have you. Okay, let's get going. All right, what am I wearing? Well, you will certainly recognize this. This is the Field Sweater by Camilla Vad that I knit. When did I knit this? In September. I finished it at the beginning of October of last year. I did the short sleeve version. It's a little bit wrinkly. I did have it hanging up, but you know, there it is. So if I back up a little bit, it's a very loose fitting, beautiful. Oh, the pattern is just beautiful. I've talked about this lots in previous episodes, but I followed the pattern verbatim, choosing the short sleeve version. There we go. Use your words, Anne. Let's see. This has been knit. I'm just going to go to the pattern page here on Ravelry. 2,279 times. At least there's 2,279 projects on Ravelry. It's a DK weight sweater. I used Frankie Gray Fibers DK as my main color, and Frankie Gray Fibers Mohair as this beautiful, ooh, look at that. So the main color is Frankie Gray Fibers DK Sand Dollar is the colorway, and this is the gingerbread colorway for the mohair. So look at the halo on that. I mean, it helps that the sun's shining on my shoulder, doesn't it? But yeah, such a great knit. 3.5, 4, and 4.5 millimeter needles, or 4, 6, and 7 US. Looks like I used 1,237 meters of the DK. No, excuse me, 1,114.6 yards, 1,019 meters of the DK, and 218 meters of the mohair, or 238.4 yards. Let's see, I started this sweater September the 7th, 2023, and I finished it October 2nd, 2023. So it took me about a month. What are my notes here? The yarn is amazing. Mohair is fabulous. I must say that this Frankie Gray mohair, I've got it next to skin. I have no itch. Yeah. Can't wait to get through this pattern. Managed to get the neck and ribbing and the increases completed last night. So that was my first note. So things to know about this pattern. Will I knit it again? No. Not because it's not beautiful and not because I don't love it, but because it was a slog getting through this yoke. You can't deny that the effect is fantastic, right? It is, I mean, look at it. The effect is beautiful. I just had a super hard time knitting it. I did read a lot of the comments and the project notes on Ravelry as before and as I was knitting, and there were some great suggestions in there to use a crochet hook to help with some of the stitches, things like that, which was very, very helpful. It's just, the yoke was, if I remember correctly, 35 or 37 or maybe 40 rounds, and it took me just as long to do those rounds as it did to knit the rest of the sweater. So although I am in love with the finished product and I do wear this sweater often, it was not a really super enjoyable knit for me. So just my opinion, my preference. If I did ever decide to knit it again, I would probably knit the long sleeve. I don't mind this as a short sleeve, but anyway, there it is. And I mean, come on, you can't deny the beauty of the pattern. It's a beautiful pattern and it makes a beautiful sweater. So anyhow, that is what I am wearing today. The Field Sweater by Camilla Vad, knit by me in Frankie Gray Fibers yarns. Okie dokie. Works in progress. So you will recall that I am doing a sample knit for Lichen Lace, and oh, can't show you that. So I am knitting, let me get to my little notes here. I am knitting the Autumn Alpine by Caitlin Hunter, Boylan Knitworks, excuse me. So on Ravelry, that's the project picture, their pattern picture. So you can see that amazing yoke. The neckline, I'm going to show you in a minute, is just, oh. So there's a close-up of the cuffs on the sleeves. The neckline is the same. Isn't that amazing? Oops. It's a great sweater. So I am knitting this sample. I showed you this last time in the Lichen Lace Rustic Heather Sport. Oops. And I am almost done the chart or the yoke. I'll probably finish the yoke today, and then all I have left is the body, obviously. So let me just kind of get this for you. All right, so you can see the collar, and then the yoke. Sorry, it's a little bit curly. So these colorways in this Lichen Lace yarn, the main color is birch, and the contrast for the yoke is rose hip. Now, when I started knitting with this, I was concerned. Because the yarn felt, the best word that I could come up with was crunchy. But I have to say, as I've been knitting, it's getting softer and softer and softer, which means as soon as I block this, it's going to be beautiful. So any concern that I had at the beginning about the yarn is gone. And the stitch definition, even though this has not been obviously blocked yet, because you can just see that the stitch definition is going to be beautiful. But this neck, I mean, isn't that amazing? Like, oh, it's so awesome. Caitlin Hunter is amazing. So the sweater has short rows in the back to help with the shaping. I almost want to keep this for myself, but I have to send it back. Yeah, so like I say, I will be finished with the yoke today, and then it's just knitting up the body and the sleeves, which will take no time at all. And I am on a wee bit of a deadline, so I do have to get rocking and rolling on that. But, whoops, let me just go back here. So this pattern came out in October of last year, so it's almost a year old. And there are 660 projects on Ravelry. It's done with, well, the pattern says sport weight, but I'm doing it, this feels like a fingering weight to me. Let's see, 3.25 and 3.5 millimeter needles, 2 colors, of course. It is a paid for pattern, $9 US or $12.74 Canadian. Let's see if there is any notes here. There's 9 different sizes available in the pattern. I'm working on size 4. So I'll have an update on the finished project for you next episode, which is in a couple of weeks. I'll have it all finished. Now, it will already be back in the mail to Lichen Lace, so I'll have to take pictures and show you the pictures. But, so that has been my main focus the last little bit. I've been very monogamous on this yoke because I do have to get it done as per the deadline. So there's not a whole lot of other works in progress that I have been working on. I did do a little bit of work on, sorry, I'm just reaching down here for my other project bag. You've seen this one before. This is my Be By Design project bag. So I have done a little bit of work on the Beeswax Hat by Amy Vanderlaar. Yeah, Amy Vanderlaar. I have done, I showed you this last episode, right? I did do a little bit of work. So this is the skein of merino possum that Marie-Lyne from the membership sent me from New Zealand. So you can see that and I had washed this first and hung it to dry. So you can see the stitch definition in this is amazing. So this is going to be a great hat. Now, I've only picked that up 1 or 2 times. I've maybe done, I don't know, maybe 2 rounds, 3 rounds of it. Just when I got in a snit about, missed some stitches on the chart of the Alpine, Autumn Alpine, I would put it down in timeout for half an hour and pick up my hat. But I'm looking forward to getting rolling on that because as much as I hate to say it, it's getting cooler and cooler and cooler here in Nova Scotia in the mornings. So I get up at stupid o'clock, usually 5 o'clock in the morning, go for a walk or a run. And I've noticed at least the last week, I've had to wear a hat and my gloves and certainly a coat, my running jacket. So it's not going to be too much longer before hats and scarves are required, unfortunately. I know, bite my tongue. So the other thing that I have been working on, and unfortunately the project in and of itself is downstairs. You know that I've talked about this before. I just love cross-stitching, and the cross-stitching bug has caught me again. And so I've been working on a couple of cross-stitch projects because, just like the knitting, you can't do just one. But the one that has really grabbed my attention of late and that I have just started stitching is this design here. I just want to get you the designer name. Malcolm Watson is the designer name. And this is called the Heart of Canada. And this is a cross-stitch project. And usually I don't stitch things like this. Am I patriotic? Yes, I am. Do I stitch patriotic things? No, I don't. But there was something about this, maybe it was the colors, I don't know. But I just thought that this would be a beautiful stitch project for perhaps my front hall, or like my foyer, or I don't know, maybe the wall, like in the staircase coming to my upstairs level. There's a landing kind of halfway through. Maybe that would be beautiful there. I just fell in love with this. So I've just started it. This particular project is going to be 24 inches wide by 24 inches tall. on a 25 count. So that is very small stitches for those of you that don't know. There are 88 colors included in this pattern. And I purchased the pattern from my favorite cross stitch pattern company called Heaven and Earth Designs, which I'm sure you have heard of. Malcolm Watson has many different types of patriotic style patterns. So for my friends in the US, he also has a similar pattern, but with the US flag. I believe he has a British one, Heart of the Union. So if you are a cross stitcher and these types of patterns kind of are your thing, pop on over to Heaven and Earth Designs. I will, let me get that glare out of there. I'll link it below, and you can search on Malcolm Watson and you can find those patterns there. So that's the other thing that I've been kind of neglecting the last few weeks because I'm working on this sample knit, but I'll get back to that soon. All right, we're moving right along here. So the next thing that I want to talk to you about, you may have seen on Instagram that when I posted the, hey, there's a new episode coming up, that I said that I wanted to talk to you about rearranging my studio space so it becomes, you know, more conducive to creativity and things like that. So to that end, I started looking on my shelves, and I'll show you, I'll move the camera in a little while and show you the different spaces, but I kind of got sidelined because I came across these two balls of yarn. Bijou Spun Seraphim. So as you can see, 95% Angora and 5% viscose in these two beautiful colorways. I'm just looking to see if there's actual colorway name on them, and I don't see one. Anyway, green and gray, or green and silver. So the yardage on this is 435 yards, or 1.75 ounces. Now, I believe that Bijou Spun is no longer in business, but I would like to knit a cowl out of those and perhaps use them as gifts. Now, what I realized is I've already knit the pattern that I chose. So I came across this pattern in my library by Marley Bird called the Fir Trees Cowl. There's a close-up picture of the lace. It's beautiful, right? So if I go to my projects, I knit this back in 2013 for Rhinebeck, when I went to Rhinebeck. Oh, wait, oh, yuck. Wait till you see some of these pictures. All right, so there it is there. Here's a close-up, obviously pre-blocked. Look at that. Oh, me trying to be fancy with my picture taking before blocking. Sorry for the glare. So anyhow, what I realized is that let me see my notes here. I used half a skein. Purchased at Bijou Base in Rhinebeck 2012, October 20th, 2012. August 13th, 2013, cast on another treasure for this year's Rhinebeck. Angora is so beautiful. I have another ball in gray. Can't wait to use. I'll definitely be visiting the Bijou Basin booth again this year. Cast off on the 2nd of September. Good Lord, I was a quick knitter there. August 31st to September 2nd. That's a long weekend in Canada. Perhaps it is for you as well. Cast off, wet blocked, use half a ball since I prefer less bulk. Okay, there we go. The wool was an absolute gem to knit. September 3rd. OMG, this cowl is so soft. It's as light as a cloud too. So I think that if I can find the pattern, the printed pattern, I will reknit, because it says here the pattern, digital pattern is no longer available. And I can't get to the Bijou Basin site because like I say, I think they've closed. And I don't see it in my library. Anyway, I'm gonna dig through a couple of my old binders where I used to store printed patterns that I used to print out instead of saving them digitally and see. But what do you think? I mean, you can see it's very fine, 95% Angora. Do you have a pattern idea for me? Ideally, I'd like to knit 2 garments, 2 items, 435 yards I have of each. But I'm not adverse to maybe a bigger project where I put these 2 together. But ideally 2. So a cowl, something like that. If you have ideas, let me know. But right now, as it stands, if I can find the printed pattern, I'll be using those yarns to knit the Fir Trees cowl. So there's that. Okay, let me just close that. Variant, okay, so hopping back to the cross stitch, I hope you don't mind, the cross stitch lane. One of my other favorite designers is Long Dog Samplers. Now, I don't know if you've heard of Long Dog Samplers. They are a British company, a UK company. I'll link them down below. But I have been enamored by this pattern that they have out, and it's a monochrome pattern. So basically you're doing it in one color of thread, and that's it. So this pattern is called the Variant of Interest. And it's a large piece, area in stitches, 198 stitches by 424. So it's a long rectangle. And here is, whoops, sorry. There is the picture of the piece. So you can see the pattern is 18 pounds 20. I've been trying to source it secondhand, but I haven't had much luck. So my thought for this project, once I get to it, is to find a beautiful variegated silk and do it out of the variegated silk. I think that would be gorgeous. There's lots, if you Google Variant of Interest, Long Dog Samplers, you can see some finished projects that will blow your mind. They are gorgeous. They are, as a stitcher even, I just look at them sometimes and I go, how did you do that? So if stitching, and if this kind of stitching interests you, click the link down below in the description box and just explore, because you will be, you'll be amazed at what you'll find. So that's kind of on my radar. I'm not ready to start that yet because I have 2 other or 3 other projects on the go in my stitching realm. I don't want to add another one, certainly not one as large as this one, but there it is. Okay, next, one of the amazing members of the circle was, sorry, I'm just trying to find this pattern. There it is. Was wonderfully and wildly generous. Thank you, Ellen, for doing this. And had a number of Laura Nelkin kits and very generously sent one my way, even paid for the shipping, which just, my gosh, how generous is that? So the pattern, now if you've been watching me for a while, you will understand why I fell in love with this pattern. Right up my alley. So look at how this pattern is being worn, wrapped. It's got, I don't know if you can see that beadwork there. She's got it wound through some of the holes, which just intrigues me to no end. Isn't that a beautiful shawl? It looks like, yeah, there's beads there. So just beautiful. So again, this is a Laura Nelkin. This was a club pattern. So it's called Afresh. You can buy the pattern for $8 US or $11.32. This came with yarn, Julie Asselin's Nurtured Fine, which was milled exclusively for Laura Nelkin's kits. So here is the yarn. Now, I don't think you're going to be able to see it. I'm trying to find a spot that might be maybe here. I don't think you'll be able to see it. There is ever so slight pops of color in here. They are not jumping out. They are, oh, just ever so slight. And then it also comes with these, I can't remember what you call this color. It's like it's iridescent, but there's a, so of course, iridescent beads. Isn't that just gonna be something else? Oh, so I can't wait to cast this on, because that shawl is just, oh, it's everything to me. The aesthetic of it, the fact that it's asymmetrical, yeah. So the pattern uses a 3.75 millimeter or US 5 needle, 975 yards, 893 meters. It's a one size, of course, because it is a shawl or a wrap. The shawl starts with a long tab. It then starts to grow into a boomerang shape. 1 row buttonholes are worked throughout the body to create depth on garter stitch ground. Finally, a beaded chevron border is worked. The tab then can be used to weave in and out of the holes to help keep your shawl in place. So it looks like this yarn, Julie Asselin Nurtured Fine, 100% fine wool, Rambouillet, Targhee, and Merino. It's going to be a joy to knit. A joy to knit. So this pattern came out in September 2019. There's 69 projects on Ravelry. Oh, and some of them are just beautiful. Go on Ravelry and check them out. Oh. So if you're into that kind of an aesthetic, you know, the interesting kind of not your regular shawl, right? Go check that out. So I will look forward to casting that on for sure. It's not going to be a right away cast on, of course, because I have a couple things to get done first, but it might be a great project for knit night or something like that, because it doesn't look like, I mean, it's garter stitch, right? So with the buttonhole edges or buttonholes in it. So I think it would probably be a good project for knit night. So thank you to my friend Ellen for sending me this beautiful kit. Oh, I just can't wait to get going on it. So that is the Afresh by Laura Nelkin. Okay, next, bear with me while I just get a quick drink here. I'm on a lemon water kick lately, so. Okay, let's talk about my studio. So you can see here, I'm sitting at my desk right now. So my studio is a space in my house, is one of our spare bedrooms. The bedrooms that we have here in my house is very old, so the bedrooms are surprisingly quite large. So this room acts as my my work. So I work from home. So this is my desk where I work from home, but it also acts as my design studio, my working studio, my sewing studio, my space in the house, if that makes sense. And I'm going to say the problem, but I don't really mean the problem. The problem, if you know anything about old houses, they don't have a lot of like plugs, right? They don't have a lot of receptacles to plug stuff in. So in this room, I have two plugs. That's it. This becomes a problem because then I have to run extension cords all over the place and things like that. And because I work in here during the day, every day, and I've got my laptop, I've got a dual monitor, I've got my printer, all of that kind of stuff is always plugged in because I have a 9-to-5. Some of those plugs are used because it's inconvenient for me to move all that stuff out of the way when I want to get my creative stuff going, right? So I've had a couple of thoughts. Thought number one, do I move my workspace out of this room and just keep this as my studio? Thought number two, do I move everything around again so I have a very defined space for work that is not inclusive of anything else that I'm doing in this space? And then my third thought is, do I just leave the working stuff where it is and reuse the desk like I'm doing right this very minute, recording, and then just fix the rest of the space? So anyhow, I'm going to move the camera, so bear with me. I'm going to give you a little kind of view of all the different areas, and you will of course excuse the mess because I haven't cleaned anything up because I just don't know what I want to do with the space. So that's where I want you guys to chime in and help me out here. So let me get to there we go. All right, I'm going back to my iPad here because I have a tab open that has a few ideas. Okay, so right now we're sitting at my desk. Sorry for the movement. I'll try and be as smooth as I can. All right, so this is the front of the house. I've got a great window here. Down here, I've got a little fireplace, electric fireplace that I plug in the winter when I'm absolutely freezing. And then you've seen this before. So I have this little shelving unit right here that has obviously a bunch of yarn on it, right? This is a new head for hats that I haven't introduced you to yet. Look at my knitting chair. I mean, seriously, Anne, right? Then I have my baskets, a little table. Now, in behind this chair right here, I have all my weaving looms, my tapestry looms, things like that, okay? And then we kind of roll over this direction. And I don't know if you can see this, but the ceiling comes down. So I don't have a full wall here. If you see the bulletin board there, that's kind of where the straight wall stops, and then it's on an angle all the way up to the ceiling. Okay, so I have a height restriction there for shelving is what I guess what I'm trying to say. And then you move over a little bit further. Look at the mess on the floor, my Lord. So then here I have tucked in those white shelves. Now, if you followed me for a while or watched really early episodes, you've seen these shelves before. They used to be on a different wall, but there they are there. Another small window. And then here is my new sewing area. So my new great sewing machine that my wonderfully generous mother gifted me. So we've got the sewing machine there. And then if we move over here, then we've got my cupboard, which I'm not going to show you inside because it's embarrassing. It's full. We've got a whole bunch of stuff all over the floor over here, and another wee shelving unit that's tucked in behind the door. All my project bags, things like that, more project bags. And then as we come over this way. Another little shelf. One of the plugs is hidden down below there. And then I have this big shelf here that has all of my essential oils and my basket stuff. My printer for work is up on top here, etc., etc. So, sorry for the moving. That's the studio space. And ideally, okay, so here's some things to consider. When I'm sitting at my desk all day long, I sit here in front of the computer during the day. That's my job. I'm on the phone. I'm working on my computer. I like to be able to see outside. I really do. There's something about being able to see from this window here beside my desk in the winter. Even though the windows are all closed, I can see the water. I can see down to the water once all the leaves are off the trees. And that brings me a whole bunch of joy. Even in the summer when the trees are full and I can't see down to the water, it's beautiful, it's green, I can hear the birds. I live on a relatively quiet street. So it's important for me to have a good eye line out the window. The other thing to consider is I don't want to put my stuff away. I don't want the sewing machine to have to go away. It's big. Once it's set up, I want to leave it set up. When it comes to the yarn, you know, like here and here, I want to be able to see it because this is part of the problem. And we were actually talking about this on one of our knit nights in the circle. One of our members pulled out all of her sock yarn, all of her sock weight yarn. She has quite a large stash, and Carrie pulled it all out. She has 300 and some odd skeins of sock yarn. And is that a huge stash? Yes, it is. But the problem is she can't see it, right? So, and it's not that she doubles up or anything like that, but it would be so much more, I mean, at least for me, it'd be so much more productive if I could see what I've got. Because do I have some stash? Yes, I do. Do I have a huge stash? I don't think so, right? So ideally what I'd like to do is go through all of my stash and put it in a way, set it up in a way that I can see it at all times. So it makes it very easy for me to actually see what I've got. So I don't have to go digging. I'm just looking for this picture that I found. There it is there. Is that it? Yeah. So I wanted to ask you guys what you think about this. Now, and of course, you know, you click on the picture, it takes you to a darned website. I thought that I had this. I don't want to use, no. Let me go back. See if I can just make this bigger. There we go. No, it did it again. Sorry. I'm just going to show you here. Okay, see this picture right here? Those are those wooden crates that you can get like at Michael in Canada. Anyway, you can get those at Michael's. I'm sure you can get them anywhere, really, but I've seen them at Michael's. What do you think about that? So you buy a number of them. I don't know how many I would need, but you know, I think that it would be perfect right here where the wall is short and then the ceiling bends or is on an angle. And then you put some horizontally and some vertically. And obviously this person has it sorted by colorway. I would probably sort by weight. And then everything is right there. Now, I know that there is some concern about, you know, moths and things like that. I don't have that concern here. I'm in this room every day, so I'm always looking. Nothing gets by the wayside as it comes to that. So that was idea number one for the yarn. Other ideas, of course, is IKEA, those calyx shelves, I think they're called. Is it called calyx shelves? I don't even know if that's the right name. Oh, here's a website that says 16 clever storage ideas. Let's see how clever they are. Oh, and of course everything. So these kinds of shelves, right? I don't know. Doesn't float my boat. But why does the other one float my boat? Because they're almost the same. Then there's also the idea that I've seen, which I can't put my finger quite on it at the moment, but the pegboard on the wall with the pegs coming out, and then you cake up the yarn and you put the cakes on those pegs. That's another idea as well. So anyway, that's the idea for the yarn. Let me know what you think. The sewing area. I need a cutting table. So I'm wondering if I should get rid of the table I have and buy kind of like an L shape. Sorry about that. Yeah, good old iPhone storage was full. Anyway, what I was saying about the cutting area is I need a table that's tall enough to allow me to do cutting of fabrics and patterns and things like that. So I don't have to bend over, really rough on the back, right? So that I do think I will go to IKEA for, because it just seems to me to be easy peasy. Get those shelves that have the storage underneath so that I really use the space up well. And then I can make it almost like an L shape, right? As for the kind of nooks and crannies, I really think I'm going to start going through my books and get rid of stuff that doesn't serve me any longer. Start going through my project bags, maybe put some of those on a D-stash, because I do have a lot up there, and honestly, I use 5, and I use the same 5 over and over and over again. So maybe it's time to D-stash some of those. I have lots of supplies, as you know, that, I really don't need. The essential oil stuff, I love it. I'm actually going to be using a lot of those essential oils for an upcoming workshop that I'm going to talk to you guys about in a couple of weeks. So, those have to stay. But I think that I can downsize a lot of the stuff that I'm really not using and really kind of dedicate specific space for specific crafts. My cross-stitching space, my sewing space, and my fiber space. I'd like to have a space to have my large tapestry loom set up as well. Just not quite sure where I'm going to do that. So if you have ideas, or of websites or Instagram people or Pinterest or things like that, pages or websites that would inspire me and inspire this space as you've seen it, let me know, because I'm kind of itching to get this done before the winter arrives, because I want this place to be cozy for the winter months, so I can get a lot of work done, because I have a lot of plans for the winter to get ready for the spring and summer season of next year. There's a number of events that I'm going to be participating in, like the Pictou County Studio Tour and things like that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. So let me know, okay? All right. So before we get into the Knitter's Oracle, I wanted to share, I'm so excited about this, I can hardly stand it. I wanted to share this piece of fabric that I got because it's just adorable. So I am going to make myself a journal cover and a project bag, and also a project or notions basket, if you will, that can sit on my table beside my chair. out of this fabric that I found at Atlantic Fabrics in New Glasgow, Nova Scotia. So this is a great cotton. Keep calm and knit on. To knit or not to knit, that is not even a question. That's so funny. Knitting is the new yoga. Knit happens. If I'm sitting, I'm knitting. Happiness is homemade. All this, and I knit too, like that. What else do we have? Knitting keeps me from unraveling. I need to do something besides knit today. Ha 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 ha. That's so funny. What else is here? Knitting goddess. Well, of course. So much yarn, so few hiding spots. Well, I just showed you all mine, so. But isn't this a great fabric? I can't wait to make something out of this. It's, oh, I had just realized that it's upside down for you. Peace, love, and knit. Pearl girls rule. Pearl, what else we got here? Life is short, knit fast. Oh, it goes on and on. So I just wanted to show you that. Isn't that fun? I can't wait to sew something out of this. It's going to be so much fun. I'll keep you posted on that. That's a project for another day, but I just wanted to share this fabric with you because I just love it. So, okay, let's jump right into the Knitter's Oracle. Oops. Split the deck as we always do and grab the top card. Today we have the Lamb. Okay. And that is 13. Look at me knowing my Roman numerals. The Lamb. Here we go. Okay. What could be sweeter than a little lamb? The lamb can be read akin to the Tarot's Fool, but with even more of a childlike bent. It's the card of the naive beginner, of tackling a fresh start with an open mind, of innocence and youth, and of a sense of play. When this card comes up, it could represent an actual child or childlike person in your life, or it could be calling you to tap into your own beginner's luck mindset and welcome a sense of wonder and lightheartedness about your situation. The Lamb. Beginner's luck. What project are you working on that is super duper hard and it's giving you that feeling of newness, of uncertainty that perhaps you don't know all the stitches, or there's a new technique in the pattern that you've never tried before, and you find yourself having to YouTube it or Google it or whatever. But at the same time, you're approaching it with that beginner's mindset, right? Yeah, newness, sense of wonder, lightheartedness. So I talked earlier about putting down the Autumn Alpine yoke because I got frustrated because I had, knit the row wrong or knit the round wrong. Am I enjoying the knit? Yes, I'm enjoying the knit. I love color work. I love that. It gives me, two-handed color work is my thing, and that's what I'm using in this particular project. But, sometimes I fall into that trap of thinking that, oh, I'm so good at two-handed knitting, I shouldn't be making mistakes. Forgetting that, when you don't pay attention, things go awry. And that if you always approach your projects or your work with that beginner's mindset, it makes it more fun, doesn't it? Yes, it's a little frustrating from time to time, but it really, really makes it more fun. Makes it more fun that you're learning something new and that you're creating something beautiful. And sometimes, you take a look at the work that you've just done and you marvel in amazement at the beauty of the project. So what project would you call, of yours right now, would you call your lamb? Let me know down in the comments, okay? All right. Sorry for the little blip. I thought I had cleaned up enough memory to get the whole episode recorded, but iPhones being iPhone. So there it is. Anyhow, thank you, friends, for coming along on this episode with me. I hope that you have enjoyed yourself and got some great knitting time in. And I will see you in a couple of weeks. Don't forget to get yourself registered or signed up for the circle. We would really, really, truly love to have you come along with us. So that's all for now. Take good care and keep knitting.